with another episode of Booze Your Daddy, the podcast. I'm your host, Dr. Alan Snyder, here with my boy. The sideshow is the show. It's Zach Elias. What's up, buddy?
Tonight, the sideshow is the show. And if you're wondering why all this is happening, the hairdo is au naturel post being professionally searched for lice. Now, the person makes house calls. $560, and 4 hours later, I am proud to say that my daughter is lice-free.
Booze Your Daddy, the podcast. Tuesdays, we do it live. Saturdays, we post it later. We are going to keep doing this thing, people. There's 200 some episodes. Rate them. Share them. Tell people we want the love. We love the hate.
Take peyote and listen to all of them.
Is that
seems like
peyote?
A productive use? I don't know. I don't even know how to get peyote, but I've seen Young Guns. I would try it.
We have an episode for everybody tonight. But before we get into that, Zach, I'm pretty sure the Jets jetsed and the Ravens ravened.
From the Jimmy Buffett Brewery, Margaritaville Gold, Blue Agave. The guy at the liquor store told me it's not bad.
Oh, I love this. I mean, we made this bet at the beginning of the season, and the fact that, like you say, the Ravens don't lose and the Jets can't win. The Jets actually can't.
Favorite game.
The Jets couldn't score points. Do you know how many yards they had at halftime?
7. Didn't you send me 7? 3? No, like that. Under 3?
It was 3. With all the minuses, it was 3 yards at halftime.
Under 3.
Fire in the hole. Pinkies up, bottoms up. Zach Elias taking another shot. That was just straight tequila, right?
Sure.
Wait, did you just take a little margarita? This is a shot of margarita.
No, it's Margaritaville. It was straight tequila. It was bad. It had no flavor. So it tastes like his music.
I hate to report the internet, but there was the video that went viral, maybe last year. That it's one of those, like, I hope they play this at my funeral. And it starts off.
This piece of shit.
Yeah. This video starts off as a girl who's stumbling out of a car, and she starts yelling, and then as she's yelling, she dry heaves, and she's like, tequila, like that. And then they mixed it with the song.
Amazing.
And I'll send you it after we're done. It's one of those, like, it's as good as a Phillies fan getting tasered.
Nothing. The best, honestly, is the taser guy who blows up. I mean, that is was the greatest video I've ever seen in my life.
Do you know how often I talk about you and your love of tasering?
Twice weekly, about as much as the Roman Empire.
I would say twice weekly is pretty fair because my patients down here tend to be pretty gunny, and every time they start getting into it, I can't just come out and be like, yeah, I'm not into guns. So I kind of start with I don't trust myself with a gun. Now a taser, on the other hand, and then the conversation flows. Here's a word to the wise. For people who meet gun enthusiasts and you don't want to make things weird, start talking about tasers. Gun enthusiasts also into taserings.
Oh, yeah. By the way, I thought that scene in The Hangover was just made right for me. The taser, I was dying. All of it. Yeah, it was like, hey, what does Zach want to see? Because it's like a random interlude just for me. Perfect. Just like the little Asian penis was for you. Things like that.
The other day at daycare, the people
wow,
who I picked,
here we go.
Well, people always talk about how great looking my son is and this and that, and immediately I go, he looks just like his mother. And every single little girl at daycare goes, yeah, he looks just like his, your wife. And I go, he's only me from the waist down.
Oh,
and it was like, I went, okay, and I'm out.
Wrong crowd at daycare.
All right, Zachy, we got to get into this because we got stuff. So why don't you tell everybody what you are drinking?
Again, from Happy Dad, I found it in the back. The watermelon one. I don't know.
You owe somebody an apology. You said somebody must have drinking
it. Back in Guatemala. Yeah, I like these ciders. I think I had cider seltzers. I don't think I had the watermelon on at your house. So let's go.
Well, they make an apple one that's called an apple Snyder.
I don't like it.
It's actually seltzer, not cider, but that's fine. From the 902 Brewing Company out of Jersey City, New Jersey, Heaven, Hell, or Hoboken, which is the last beer that I got for you when you came over and you didn't touch it because you drank them Juicy Bombs.
Yeah, Juicy Bombs. What's that logo? Go zoom in on that.
I think that's the Lackawanna train station in Hoboken.
It looks like the West Ham sign. Show me. Just turn it so I can see it.
It's not the West Ham sign.
It's close. No, it's a nail in it. All right, go. Fire away.
Balanced citrus pine, 6.5% alcohol, release a cracker. Boom. Cheers.
That's like a Jolly Rancher. I don't hate it.
Zach, I'm very excited that we're going to be doing today's show where you actually are going to do some talking, because last week I started with the beer of 16 ounces, and when we finished, I had 12 ounces still left in my can.
Your mother yelled at me to not talk so much. And if you're looking for a good time, Kavita RJ just gave their phone number. Have at it, guys.
Episode 211. Calling this one a louse, a mouse, and a house.
We have 2 of the 3 of those. And there's no mice.
For people who don't know how this show works, Zach and I don't talk about anything. We don't plan nothing. We sign on, which today was, 2 minutes before the show starts, and he looks like he just got back from Vietnam.
This is my Vietnam. I'm still in the shit. Man, I'm on my 3rd tour. Last week, Jenna had COVID. Today around noon, I get a text. Zoe has lice. And now we're off to the races. So there's a lot going on. I get home, and I've done a deep dive on lice at this point. I get home, and the lice technician is here, and she makes house calls for a cool $1.40 an hour. That's like hooker money. Forget about it. So anyway,
what hookers do you know that charge $1.40?
Good ones.
Send me the number.
Kavitova just did. Anyway, Zoe had 12, count them, 12 mother bugs and hundreds
of eggs.
Hundreds of eggs.
Well, she does have a perm, so I guess there's a lot of space.
I don't know what she's got. That's a natural mop. Like, that thing is wild.
Did you shave her?
Yeah. Eyebrows. No, it was quite the situation. The shampooing, the combing, the this, the that. She picked these things out one at a time. Thousands.
How long did that take at $1.40 an hour?
4 hours. As we're all doing the math. $5.60. Straight cash, homie.
Wow. Straight cash, homie. I say all the time, nobody gets it.
Nobody gets it? Are we dating ourselves with that?
It's so getting there. It really is. I mean, it's like I always tell people about my roommate who is a connoisseur on football starting in 2016. So anytime I make any reference, she's just like, Sean Alexander, who? And you're like, oh,
he was a stud. Bell cow.
Man.
You could just plug him in and be good for the season. No injuries.
We looked it up tonight while we were watching Hard Knocks. Do you know how dangerously close Raheem Mostert is to the rushing touchdown record? He's like 7 away.
Who has the record? Is it Emmett or is it
LT for a season for rushing?
Look at like Jamal Charles with bananas for a little while, or
no. I have very, very little experience with lice because not a whole room to breed up top for me.
Yeah, but he could have the crabs.
What do you mean could? I'm from Baltimore.
I know, right? It's all there. These things don't mess around.
Anything else to say, or can I move on?
Bite your bubble from lice? The thing's disgusting. We'll get back into it later if you want, but
you're not a South Park person, right?
First couple seasons.
Okay. I also was the first couple seasons in high school, fell off the wagon, and then came back for a little bit, and then I didn't get to Comedy Central for a while. But there is a episode with lice. It's worth watching. Just a standalone episode. Has nothing to do with South Park. It's just all about lice living in people. It's great. I'll say nothing more.
All right.
Second part of the rhyming thing we're doing here, not an alliteration, right? What would you call that? A louse, a mouse, a house.
A rhyme.
A rhyme. Yeah.
Pentameter.
I was at a patient's house last week, and apparently she had a mice issue where, who cares? Like, I grew up with field mice. We've had rats at our house. It happened.
Ew!
Before you came here, not since, if that makes you feel any better. And she has this guy come over, this tall young guy. He was actually a really cool person. I've met in my life maybe 4 exterminators for a couple of different things. Why are they the weirdest fucking people on Earth?
Yeah, tall, good-looking guy. It's like porn stuff. I'm here to fix the mouse problem. We don't have any mice. Chicka wow. Like, this is all a pornocopia. Why are they weirdos? Because they delve into bugs and infestation as their vocation.
Did they choose the profession, or did the profession choose them?
It's a calling. It chooses you.
Right? Like, this guy, he's underneath of the refrigerator. He's literally scraping off the mouse skin that's congealed to the floor and like dictating everything. He's like, oh man, that just ripped off the whole hind. And like
Pretty
the
gross.
lady is mortified at this point, and it's just getting worse and worse. And then he starts naming the mice, which I'm
Why
thinking
is
like,
he there at the same time as you're there? Why couldn't she stagger these appointments?
bad scheduling.
It's bad scheduling. It's a bad job. But meanwhile, I met someone who checks kids' heads for lice for a living and makes house calls. She was here until after 7. That's a bad
She also
job.
makes fuck you money,
I suppose she does.
right? I mean, this lady has to be going to elementary schools and dropping lice there, right? Like you
Yeah.
figure,
Because you go to the elementary school, you get dick. When you go to the people's houses and it's a panic mode, you could charge anything.
a boat's a boat.
Exactly.
I will be seeing, I think, this gentleman tomorrow, the next day, where again his time coordinates with mine, and he's actually a really nice guy. And the funny thing is, we start talking, and people always assume I'm younger than I am. Don't know why, as smart and good looking, as follically challenged as I am. And I start saying to him, like, dude, I don't know how old you are. He goes, I'm engaged. I said, do not have children. He goes, nah, man, I gotta have kids. Like, it's gonna happen. And I go, how old are you? He goes, 25. I said, you're out of your goddamn mind. And he goes, nah, man, I'm telling you, it's going to be a good thing. I said, you are a crazy person to have
Out of
kids
his
at
fucking
25.
mind. 12.
And you had kids, what, 33?
33.
33. So
Okay.
even you who had kids kind of early-ish, like 25, what a moron.
Do I look like a happy guy to you? I've got a kid.
You look like a happy dad.
We're getting better. This
Last
is the for lice right here, baby. Woo!
Last part of the rhyming for today's episode, I do want to send a congratulations shout out to my cousin Carly Simon, who became a homeowner of a condo in Hoboken.
We congratulate people for that.
You know me too well. Now I love her.
You're a big housewarming gift, I'm sure, kind of person.
I only wish good things for her. She sent out a group text, and the amount of kvelling my family did on a group text, Zach, I wrote nothing because what I really wanted to say was congratulations on saving up enough money for a down payment.
Just get her a welcome mat that says "You're so vain" and call it a day.
I think she had that was her closing song at her wedding. They closed with that. She's heard it all before.
I'm sure she has. Name her second biggest hit.
I just don't understand why people buying a house is such a big deal. If
not.
anything, aren't you just bragging? I mean, like, look at me, I'm so rich.
Yeah, that's what makes it fun. But first things first, a lot of people own homes. Is it a nice home? Or is it a shithole?
It's a condo. I know
nothing. I've seen some shitty condos in my day. Do
you know where the condo's located in?
Hoboken.
No joking.
I know about all that. All right, well, Mazel Tov. Who's her broker? Does she use Marie Gomer, the best?
You think I know any more than I told you?
I wouldn't mind knowing who she used. Jill Biggs. I know 2 of them out there.
Jill Biggs has been in my condo. She sold me my house, but not her.
She?
It was
one like of her underlings.
Yeah.
She's the best in the business.
She's all right.
You would.
Tall drink, yeah.
Don't. She's got some history.
We will talk with you.
No, night's not over. Nevertheless, buying a whole house is a rite of passage. Yeah, so is a bris. You don't get quelling for that. Hey, his schmeckle got smaller. Now I can't see it.
Are you quirky? Want to eat some jerky?
Where'd my phone go? I don't know, man. Sure. What do we got here?
It was a bad week for me. I feel like you're going to kill me this week.
Maybe. I mean, I'm just going to throw it out there. You did end last week with Jets. I got Jets all day.
You didn't put. I wanted to do something.
Should have done something. There was a high school in Texas. Are you familiar with Byron Washington?
Yeah, he owes me $5. Absolutely.
You're not going to get it if that's the case, because this is Byron Washington, the guy in the white. The guy in the maroon, he's in high school. The guy in the maroon, mind you, is 6'4".
And he's a lineman?
This kid is a monster. Yeah, so the other guy is 6'4", and the guy in the white is like an actual giant in high school. He'll be on the Ravens in no time, I'm sure.
How old?
I don't know. I liked him. He's 6'7", 380.
He doesn't make it to 40 years old. I'll bet you $1 right now.
Yeah,
with inflation.
With inflation, perhaps. So this is a convoluted story. Are you into Aiden Massey Shaprovsky? Great. He is an now Senate staffer who allegedly filmed gay sex in
yes.
Congress. He is
I didn't
24
believe this
years
story.
old.
I saw the picture and I didn't believe it. I was like,
He's
this seems
24
fake.
years old, and he was fired from the office of Senator Ben Cardin. Are you familiar with his state?
Yeah, he's a great state.
Maryland. So there's that. And there's pictures of him right there in Congress.
So I saw
not wearing
that picture.
much.
I thought that was fake. I didn't believe it. Are you 100% sure?
Yes. I want to believe.
Kick in the dick?
I don't know. Prove me wrong. Sure.
Prove me wrong. Are you the guy with the sign? Prove me wrong?
Yeah, exactly. So speaking of White House sex and all the fun, Stormy Daniels apparently wants to party in the White House with Hunter Biden. The quote is, "Wouldn't say no." Wouldn't say no. There's your quote. Love her. Good for her. I mean, there's lice. That's all the rage. My story of the week. Vanilla Ice recalls adventures with cocaine kingpin Pablo Escobar in Florida. Quote, yes. I've seen it all. And the article goes on from there. But in the early 90s, Vanilla Ice partied with Pablo Escobar in Florida.
It's so funny that you say that because I saw a picture on Twitter the other day for whatever reason. Pablo Escobar circa 1989 at Disney World with his family. Does he not look like every other schlub you've ever seen?
Yeah, he's a guy.
Right, but he's not a guy.
Golf course shirt here. Like my grandfather has that same sweatshirt. I'd love to have that sweatshirt.
You've never seen That's My Boy? I think we talked about this once.
Of course I have.
Oh, okay, just checking. Because Uncle Vanny in that.
Uncle Vanny is great. Todd Bridges is great. This sweater goes on sale for an auction. I'm bidding. I would wear that Pablo Escobar's golf club sweater. $2,000. Why not? I'd wear it all the time. All the time.
This isn't my.
Lice took over my house.
This isn't my Hipponymous, but I did show up at a patient's house the other day, and her caregiver, who's as sweet as you can get, is wearing a sweatshirt that has I think it was an orange Ford Bronco on it. And I look at her and I'm like, Ford Bronco? And she's like, I like this shirt. I go, do you know what a Ford Bronco is most famous for? And she looks at me, she's like, I have no idea. And I start telling her about OJ. And she's like, older than you. Not from this country, but has been here for 25 years. And I turn to her and I say, no. Like, it's most famous for that. And she goes, I don't think he was in a Ford Bronco. I'm like,
quite certain.
I was like, yeah, I'm pretty sure.
I remember that Knicks game so vividly. It was great. They kept cutting in and out between Knicks and the finals and OJ.
I do remember where I was at Aunt Marlene's Aventura house when that happened. I remember watching it on TV.
Aventura. Fancy schmancy. No, it's shittle.
It was fine. It was a starter.
I was at my dad's Aventura house. My dad's place.
Zach, you got a Whatcha Watchin?
So we're getting deep into Black Mirror. I'm really liking some of the later ones. The Miley Cyrus one, great. The Joan is Awful was good. I like the ones with some celebs. We got
Joan is Awful is a top episode.
This is my top episode. It's great.
Joan is Awful is one of those like, this is not. Oh, wait a minute.
Salma Hayek is very talented.
We could be in Joan. The message of Joan is Awful. We could be there like in a year. It blew me away. That one. I thought that one messed with my mind.
It blew me away. What else am I watching? So we started. Because we watched Beetlejuice recently, now Zoe's in a bit of a Burton kick. We started Wednesday. We got one episode in.
Too scared?
There's some looking away.
It's scary.
I don't know. I thought it was great, actually, the first episode. I thought it was fantastic. I love anything Tim Burton. And anything with Luis Guzman.
He makes every movie 10% better.
He does. And Zeta Jones looks tremendous.
Yeah, she's pretty good. It actually is really good because it's kind of... I like what they do with, and they're going to get more seasons, but it's very Hogwartsy meets Addams Family. I loved it. Other than I brought this up forever ago. You know that girl who is old enough. She's like all pro-Palestine before all this Hamas stuff.
Who, the Ortega or the blonde girl?
Ortega.
Really? Yeah. Now that's all fine and good.
Brianna of Tar also in there too.
But I know she's fine. We're really glossing over or skipping the lead here. Christina Ricci, she's the Italian Winona Ryder. Like, come on, she's just ruined my youth. She's amazing.
So I had a conversation
Black Steak Moan.
Chicago
Forget
Seth and I
about
were talking about this, and he turns to me and he goes, "Listen, I support what you're into." He goes, "Wouldn't touch her with a 10-foot pole," and I'm like,
what the
"Dude,
fuck's wrong
are
with him.
are you out of your mind?" And he looks
He-
at me, he's like, "Dude, I think she's one of the grossest people ever." And then I just said, "I just think I just have a thing for girls with big heads and stuff. Like it's just what I do."
Yeah, fine. So who's his Mount Rushmore?
I will text him right
Earl
now and ask.
Hemsworths?
There's 3 of them, I think.
3 Hemsworths? 3 Hemsworth and Jaleel White? Like, what's he into up there in Chicago?
Did I do that?
Yeah, he might have done that.
I wish I had more to add for the What You Watching. I had something I can talk about another time, but I had a decent Hip Hop Anonymous today with the patient that was pretty funny. That one of my go-tos when I'm like
But I want to
walking
get
around.
into your bookies. That looks pretty good. And I heard that like the thing about my dad or whatever, the Maniscalco, the De Niro movie is pretty funny.
Yeah,
Did you see it?
No. I'm not a movie guy, but I'll get to that one because
I
I want
heard
to see
it's
it.
funny. I heard it has no business being funny, but it's funny. Like,
A lot of times I'm walking around a patient's home and I'm looking around, I see the backyard, and I'm always curious what people's backyards look like. I guess it's my own fetish of being able to play like soccer or football or some sports with my kid. And I see a
nil.
patient's house today, and I turn to the guy, and one of my go-tos is, "Wow, you could get a Thanksgiving football game back there." And he's just like, "Yeah, we actually used to do that." And the
The
guy's up
Geller
there,
Cup.
and he's pretty big, this guy. And so we start talking more and more, and I cannot crack the ice on this one, whatever. So now I'm just doing small talk. Where are you from? Oh, or I assume you're retired. The guy's in his 80s. He's like, "Oh, of course I'm retired." I was like, "Well, what do you do?" He goes, "Well, I was a lineman." And now it's like, stop the presses, because he's a tall, big guy. And I just started asking him questions. I said, "Wow, that must have been pretty grueling on your body." And he's like, "Yeah, working with your hands so much." I'm thinking, and your feet?" He's like, "Not my feet so much. The hands were really just everything." And he starts going on. And I said, "What about like your team?" Because I'm asking more question. He goes, "Yeah, it was a pretty small team. Only a couple people really ever did anything." And finally, we're just getting into it. I'm just like not understanding. It's one of those. I look at him. I go, "Okay, so like, where did you play?" He goes, "Play what?" I said, "You said you were a lineman." He goes, "For the electric company. I put up lines." And I'm like, Zach,
That's
it
a
was like,
lineman.
I'm thinking to myself, like, there has to be a different name for that job. I cannot believe he called himself a lineman.
It's like Spider-Man. He's a Spider-Man. He's a lineman.
But like, I also couldn't. Is this my first time meeting this guy? I'm 10 minutes in, and he is not enjoying.
He does that. He does that to
so?
get that. I think so. I think he's very dry, and he likes saying, "Told that little Jew boy that was a lineman. He thought I was to play football."
I had this conversation with the patient the other day. She asked me if I'm Jewish, and knowing her name and all the Hasidim books all over, I'm looking and going like, we can tell each other, right? And she goes, "Yeah, I just didn't want to be too presumptive." I can't get over that the goys have no idea the amount of
Their
what are you
Judar is terrible.
Judar?
Yeah,
The amount
you never
of
heard Judar before?
I guess
You keep touching your big schnoz like a Judar.
it's setting off the Judar.
It is. Yeah.
What would that sound like?
Fix.
We have a spinning dreidel.
Or like change falling.
Do you know what would break Judar at your holiday party when your sister was spinning a dreidel upside down for maybe 20 minutes?
I did that today. I have one at my office at my desk because one of the guys on the plane, then we found out it's a weighted dreidel that keeps landing on Nun. Piece of shit. But like, I'm the only one who can spin it upside down. It's a fucking Jew thing. Like the goyim can't do it.
Goyish.
I did the other day. I was just fidgeting with it, and my friend, who's the biggest Christmas fan in the world, this blonde girl, Ditzy, goes, "I'm just spin it the other way." I go, "You're supposed to."
That's
but,
nice for you.
Which sister? The one who wouldn't shut up 30 Rock, or the one you liked?
The 30 Rock. I just can't, Zach. The amount of my patients that when you say like he knew this Jew boy, every single one of my patients is like, "Oh, and how will you be doing your Christmas?" And I just tell them flat out, I go, "Oh, I'm going to be seeing my wife's family and this that." Like, I don't get into the fact of like, look at me.
I tell them I'm having a traditional Christmas, Chinese food in a movie, and we go from there. Traditional Jewish Christmas.
I don't get it. It's not that I'm not proud or anything. I just don't get into it. I just want to keep making that paper and have them see me, and I don't care.
That's the most Jewish thing I've ever heard in my life. I don't want to keep making money.
Maybe that is me celebrating my heritage. But when these people start talking about religious stuff, same thing with the gun guy the other day, who Also, we start talking. The guy turns to me. It was so hot last week. I go, man, global warming. You would have thought that I said aliens. He was just like,
By the way,
global
Jon
warming.
Stewart had a great Jewish line. He goes, but all Jews are all doctors. He goes, yeah, everyone complains that Jews control all the media, but no one's complaining that they control gastroenterology, whatever it's called, or being a doctor or something. He's like, oh yeah, when it's that, they can't wait to see us. Yeah,
Tell me, I keep loving the segment. I don't care. Left knee red, left foot blue. Did you see what happened in the Ravens game?
No.
I didn't watch a second of the game. I got back
Lucky
late.
you.
I was exhausted. I went to bed. I wake up the next day. I watched the whole thing on YouTube for the most part, and then throughout the day, I hear our star running back, this Keaton Mitchell, this undrafted super, and they're like out for the season. I go, I didn't see the highlight, so now I Google it. Zach, he's running up full speed of the right sideline. A guy reaches out and like shoestring tackles, except doesn't get him, but throws his gait off just enough that his next step lands with a completely extended leg that then backs the other way.
So,
and you're like,
okay, turf or no turf, you're a doctor-ish. So why did this never happen to Emmitt Smith or Barry Sanders? I mean, Bo Jackson had an injury, but like, why did it never happen to the greats? Sean Alexander? Why did this only start happening to guys every minute of the day now? Are their knees weak? Are they lifting too much? Are they not resting in the offseason? Are they just soft?
I think they're not getting hit enough and they're not prepared for a lot of these tackles. It's like that, the hip drop tackle that they're saying now, like, oh, they're going to ban it because you know what all the linebackers are like, dude, I'm just trying to get the guy. If you think I'm trying to hurt him, you're out of your mind.
You can't hit him anywhere else. That's the other part, too. You can't hit him anywhere that's not their little knees or ankles. Decleat them. That's fine. Hit him in the chest or head.
That could also be a part of it, is that now you can't tackle them so many ways that I think it's just throwing people off.
Yeah, like, you used to be able to knock them into the third row, but their legs wouldn't break.
You know what I also think is happening a little bit? I think there's a lot of hubris, confidence, where these running backs know they're not going to get licked running across the middle type of deal. True. So they're just acting differently. I think there's a little bit of that. That's my own personal.
Yeah, because they're not going to get, Palomalu'd. I was going to say Ed Reed, but you've been too excited.
Pishadoo.
You hate Palomalu? You must love him. Great hairline.
Hate is a strong word. I hope he gets hit by a car tomorrow. And actually, the day before Christmas Day, when this episode comes out.
He'll still have better hair than you. Both of us.
You won't have lice.
He might. If he does, we can cancel my week.
Do you know this? My calls. You know his when he played, they say he was more Jesus-y than Tebow. Like, he used to get up the line and just recite Bible verses.
That's terrifying. It's the scariest thing in the world. Guy's not all there.
Yeah, it took January Joe 10 years to recover from all those sack strip fumbles.
He looks great. Chet years, not as much.
Pishadoo of the week. I have 9 candidates. They're not very good. It was a bad week. Are you ready?
Let's dance.
The biggest thing in political news is that Trump is now banned from the primaries in Colorado. Cool, don't care. Did you hear that Vivek Ramaswamy is going to be pulling out of the primaries if Trump is not put on it? Now, they're competing against each other, right?
He's an idiot.
Is that the dumbest thing you've ever heard?
He's pretty dumb.
It's like, I want to be your running mate. Just kidding. I'm like, you're running for freaking president, man.
Santos Elias 24. Let's go.
Yep, you got my vote.
Oh, God.
I have to tread lightly on the next one. I have a new patient that I called the other day. They screened my number. It goes to voicemail. The voicemail is a scene from a movie that starts playing the whole thing. And then at the end of it, it's like, hey, it's Frank. Leave a message. I think people who do that are the scum of the earth. Not the screening, the playing of a movie scene, like as your voicemail. I can't tell you. It's too obvious. I'll have to tell you off air.
Frank the Tank?
No. That would be great. The guy's name is not actually Frank, but it really bothered me.
I don't like it. It's annoying.
I'm getting close to unfriending somebody on Facebook. They post twice a year a pie joke, like P-I. What the fuck is people's obsession with
Pie Day?
No. Pie Day, I think that's also really bad and overdone. Yeah. But it's just people like, hey, what are your favorite? Like, pie this, pie
Nobody cares. I hate pie. I hate anything mathy.
But
you're a nerd.
Why? Why do people care?
Because they're nerds. Nerds. I'm like ogre.
This past Saturday night.
All right, call him out. Who is it? What we got?
No.
Man up.
No.
Pussy.
On Saturday, there was a end of the year UFC event that I told you should watch because it was going to be a banger, and it was not. But the black guy won, just so you know.
Well, I mean that's a given.
The highlight of it is they put the January pay-per-view main event people in the crowd. So during this December pay-per-view, they could be like, and we have so-and-so who'll be fighting, and so-and-so. Well, here's the problem. Dana White put them 2 rows apart. So do you know what ended up happening when they put a spotlight on? The guy jumped over 2 seats and punched the other guy square in the face.
That's all fine and good. The 2 ladies you sent me, no regrets. That was the best fight I've ever seen.
That was a fight of the year candidate. That was really.
That was the best fight I've ever seen.
Now,
they were.
Is the Pishadoo the person that put them sitting near each other, or each of them where they started punching each other for free and they're going to do it for millions next month?
Them. Like, be professionals.
Right?
You don't actually hate each other. This is all show. It's all shtick.
Nobody knows exactly.
They really hate each other. Like if they saw each other in an alley, they would beat the crap out of each other just because it's the Tuesday.
The champion is like a far right winger who says a lot of really, really off color stuff. The challenger did like a.
Is it AOC? What? Because if it's not AOC, like what are we doing here?
No, the challenger. Kick some ass. Apparently, he made some comment about like being molested, and there's rumors that the champion has had some history of that in his past when he was young and just lost his fucking mind. He was just
who gives a shit? That's all patter.
And got under it. Well, the main event of the pay-per-view, you know how they're trying to sell the fight? The champion's father was somehow wrapped up in drugs and got killed, I think like 10, 20 years ago. During the presser before it, the challenger says, I'm going to take you to the 7 layers of hell so you can see your father. And the guy fucking lost it. Apparently broke down in tears behind stage. Like, people are like, that was a little much. Like, maybe you don't say so.
What was your father going to? 5? 6? I didn't go to his website. I'm sorry.
This next one really gets me. Actually. I'm going to say it incorrectly, so I'll just say it the way I want to. Some guy named some guy named a hockey player. There was a hockey player who played for the St. Louis Blues named Jordan Kyrou, something like that. But I'm going to call him Kyrou Baby. Right. Did you hear that he came back to St. Louis to play against some team that drafted and played for a couple years, and they booed him during the game? And in the post-game, when the announcers were asking him questions, he broke down in tears crying because he was hurt that his old fans were booing him during the game.
What a pansy.
Right? Do you... name a single player that gives a shit about a city in any sport after you're
a grown man who's crying.
You know, sometimes you cut onions. It happens.
At work? He's at work.
Nothing at work gets me at all.
Right. And that's what his job is.
Candidate number 6.
I don't like him at all.
Tara Reid was in the news recently because she's not relevant.
She's
not relevant. And now she's coming out and kissing and telling all about everything with Tom Brady, how they dated back in the day. And it really bothers me when nobody cares about you, but you used to be famous, so you just start bringing up stories of the past.
You want to know why she's relevant? She was on the Marines show, season 2. She withdrew voluntarily on the first day because they found contraband on her. It's an 8-day show. She tried to sneak in 4 packs of cigarettes for 8 days.
That's a lot.
It's a lot. Even Zoe was like, that's a lot. Like, it's an 8-day test. She, like, came in. Her pockets were full. They patted her down. 4 packs. And just kept pulling. The 3 of us were on the floor. We watched the stupid show.
How was she going to smoke them and not get caught?
She didn't work it through. She didn't do the math.
I heard this story on the news today. I'm not sure where the problem lies, so I'm going to need your help. Virginia woman who had bought a vase for $3.99 at some, Goodwill was then able to flip it and sell it to an auction house for $100,000. This vase was made by some famous Italian sculptor.
Amazing.
Who's the idiot here? People that go shopping at Goodwill? Somebody buying this for $100K? I don't know what to do with this story.
Nobody. It's a lottery ticket. God bless America. Someone buying it for $100K because it's, what it does? The exact same thing that the one from Home Goods does. It holds your fucking flowers. It's not worth anything. It's worth what idiots get. It's worth the same as my Bo Jackson card from last week. What one shithead's worth? Yeah, what one shithead's willing to pay for it. That's what it's worth. It's worth nothing. Nothing's worth anything.
things are worth stuff. If it's a
Are they?
Picasso,
Says who?
yeah.
Why is it worth anything? Because one guy's willing to pay for it. I could paint some. I'll paint you some shit right now.
Go ahead. I want to.
Yeah.
Do you know what we got from at school today? Like they sent us Christmas presents. Milo painted an actual painting. A lot of times they just take his hand and they have him do stuff. This one, they squirted paint on a paper plate. They put his hand down and just let it go. And he did it all by himself. Zach, I was.
I will tell you this: it's probably as good as half the shit in the Met.
It probably is. Do you know what else they did for us, which is going up in my office?
They build you.
They gave us a present from him to us of a snowman. And you're looking at this thing like, yeah, who gives a shit? And then I look closer. What they did was they put white paint on his foot and they put that down and used that to make the snowman. I'm like, all right, I enjoyed this. Like the other things going in the
fast
trash.
and loose with the term office.
I have an office.
Sure you do. What? The back of your car?
No, I have an actual office, you idiot. I'll send you a picture.
Mm-hmm.
I'm not there all the time because I'm not that busy, but
Does it have your diplomas up to prove that you're really a doctor?
It does. It does. It's right when you walk in there.
That's so insecure of doctors.
Canon number 8. This story got me. It's really messed up, but I had to rewind. The amount of times I'm driving and I hear a story and I have to hit pause and go, what in the hell? There was a pedestrian in Dallas who was hit by a car that was a drunk driver. They found the drunk driver 40 miles from where he hit the person with the pedestrian through the windshield in the guy's front seat.
The fuck out of here. He was still going?
You gave me the reaction. I was like, wait a minute. Because I listened to
I'm picturing a guy in a 45-degree angle in the windshield, feet sticking out, and this guy barreling down the highway. What state? Got to be Florida, right?
It was Texas.
Okay.
I heard this story. I listened to the news very, very fast. Not only do I rewind it no less than 4 times, I slow it down to half speed. I'm like, I'm not hearing something right.
Yeah. So we're picturing it's the same way. 45 degrees, this guy's just going.
I mean, how do you drive where you just look over and the guy's dead staring at you?
Is he dead or is he chalking back?
Pull over, bro.
Just shit, how about them Rangers? Yeah, hell of a team. What a season.
What do you say to the person? Are
you
not
die, the guy, right?
The guy did die, yes. And the other person's going to jail forever.
Right, but we don't know where along the 40 miles he died.
I assume it was in the first 2 miles.
Maybe.
You think he made it 39 miles to be please pull over?
Bad conversation. Please. I'm out, man.
What do you say if you're semi-conscious to the person?
I don't know.
Stop. Get a big gulp. I'm hungry. What do you want? Take me to a hospital?
Ooh, big gulp sounds pretty good.
Right. Did you ever get the big gulp and you put the Slurpee in it, or you're always a soda guy?
No, soda. Gotta be Slurpee.
Gotta be Slurpee. Okay.
That's what we're doing here. The fucking Slurpee guy at Route 9 in Amherst knew me. We had a problem.
All right. My favorite story of the week. Last one. 10-year-old. This one's better. 10-year-old Mississippi boy was running errands with his mother. The mother left him in the car when she went in to go see some attorney for something. Well, the little kid had to take a little pish, so he gets out of the car, starts peeing, gets caught, taken to jail in handcuffs, and now has to do all types of community service to make up for this.
At 10?
10 years old. I assume
he fucking around in Mississippi.
In Mississippi, I'm assuming this guy didn't light a menorah. You know what I'm saying?
No one lights a menorah in Mississippi. Yeah, that's wild.
I heard this story, and the way they told the story, they're and he was urinating outdoors. Zach, when do you think the last time I urinated outdoors?
Today.
No.
Because it was not at Beth's mom's house. You've definitely done it since then.
When I got back from Manhattan last week and got to my car at the train station, I kind of meandered around until all the cars in the parking lot left. I opened up the door and just turned around and started peeing right in front of it because I wasn't making it another 50 minutes driving home. This is
I pulled over on the way home from a Jet game with Eric in the car. I had to go run. I got peed in some guy's bush on some nondescript street. And
then you went to his front yard?
Mm-hmm. Pretty much. I also had to get off the tube in England once and go piss in the financial district of London because I wasn't going to make it back to the hotel. Look up, there's 6 cameras right on me.
They knew from the shots exactly where you're from.
Yeah. Hope they had a wide-angle lens for what was going on down south.
Vivek pulling out a
No.
Using a movie for a voicemail. People
It's
who just
annoying.
talk about the number pi.
Ugh.
Sean Strickland and Dracus Duplessis, two people getting in a fight who are going to fight each other next month
Mm.
anyway. The St. Louis Jordan Cryu baby. Tara Reid telling it all because she wants some attention. The Virginia woman who finds a vase and sells it for way too much. Pedestrian, drunk driver, and 10-year-old Mississippi boy. I shouldn't have read it, right?
Everything in me really wants to give it to any asshole who likes pie. They're just the worst.
It's the worst.
But it's the guy who killed someone kept driving. Like, come on.
40 miles. Let's assume he was going 90, right? Do you know how long that is? It's a half hour in a car.
Yeah, it's nuts. Like, feet just sticking out. What about other drivers? Like, look over the. Oh, there's a guy with feet sticking out of his windshield.
There's a lot of questions about this story. I was like, I don't
So
know.
who finally pulled him over? Somebody just passed the cop and the cop pulled him over? Like, how'd this all go down?
I gave you everything I know, man.
I still hate people who like pie. Fuck them. Don't cry
You
at work.
mentioned trivia. Are we
I
wrapping
mean,
this
I'll
up
do
now?
it if you want. It is.
Save it for next week. We'll do it
No,
next
no,
week. We'll take some time.
it's this week or not. It is lice trivia.
Oh. Do it.
All right. Lice are members of the clade Phytoptera. How many species of wingless parasitic insects are there? Plus or minus 500.
Oh my God. I was going to say 47. So plus or minus 500. I will go with minus. Less.
No, it's more. Like, you're within the range, plus or minus 500.
Oh, I have no idea. 11,000.
5,000. You were wrong.
Okay.
All right. Lice that live on hair or feathers and feed on skin are called, which is what she had, jumping lice, sucking lice, chewing lice, or lousy lice.
Chewing.
Ew, correct.
Yes. Thank you. Ooh, I thought this was going to be an over.
Yeah. Usually, a single louse will have how many hosts in its lifetime? Between 1 or 10?
4.
1. They're monogamous.
Oh, like penguins.
I know,
for a
right?
year.
Zoe had 12 of them. After lice eggs hatch, how long until they're fully grown? 1 week, 1 month, 6 months, 1 year.
No, I like a week. It's very quick.
No, a month, give or take. They say between 3 weeks to a month, which means if we're scoring at home, she has had these in there for over 3 weeks.
Yeah, you have lice, just so you know.
I don't. I'm the only one. I don't have lice, and no one else in the house has lice.
Wait, but I was at your house how many weeks ago?
You don't have lice.
Oh
Look
my
at you.
God. You're a super spreader. I can't wait until one of those
30
Rock is going to come back with a shaved head.
Which war did American soldiers suffer the worst case of lice and subsequent disease?
Spanish Armada.
What? No.
I have no idea. Which
Pick a
war
war.
did they? Where was this war fought?
American soldiers. So there's not that many of them.
I'll go with Vietnam.
Civil War, he says. No, World War One. The Germans said they had the epidemic under control. And then it ran absolutely rampant in the German army in World War II. It just decimated them in the Battle of Stalingrad. Lice was just awful. Like diseases that came from it. And bonus question number 6. How many legs do lice have?
Is it even? It has to be even. I'll go 10.
6. Question 6 legs. That's what I got for lice trivia. Went 1 for 5. But that's
doesn't matter. Got one, baby. That's all that matters.
She must hate that, by the way, for Allison.
Booze Your Dad in podcast.
She does.
Thanks for listening to tonight's episode.
Well, she sells Legos online, I think, right?
We wish everybody a very Merry Christmas, and if you don't listen to us the week next, a Happy New Year. Zach, tomorrow's my big performance at my son's daycare. Any words of wisdom for my biggest performance ever?
Break a leg? Video it for me? I don't know. I'm into it. The kids are going to hate you.
Break away?
Break away. Ooh, it's not bad.
We out.
Yeah.
I asked Julia, I was like, do kids